Welcome everyone to episode 526 of The Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swole cast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to The Daily Swole.
Welcome, fam, to Facebook Live every day at 12 noon Eastern time. Thank you also for watching on YouTube if you watch on ZTube and listening to the podcast on SoundCloud and motherfucking iTunes. What's going on, beasts? What's going on, ladies, busters, hustlers, and the hoes? All of which join regularly for Papa Swolio as he lays down the fitness nuke smackdown. So get your radiation suits, get into your bomb shelters, get into the fallout security places that you have hammered out in your home. Please, save yourself. Save yourself. Because it's gonna get okay. So now's the time to like and share the broadcast. Let's blow this up. It is Saturday. I know you have free time. I know you're not doing much important, because if you're not here, trust me, you're gonna learn some shit today, because these are my fundamentals, at least most of them, for proper back training. So this is going to be an important episode in the whole back pulling movement series. So let's get some more people in here. I'm not going to start until I start seeing some eyes. So like, share the broadcast. Let's give everyone a chance to come in and watch the gain train. Get some more coffee going. A couple other things on the docket. Remember, special offer for the 90-day dash program. Link is in the description. Special offer is ending tomorrow. Special offer ends tomorrow, so do not wait on the program. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. A lot of you are jumping on it like crazy. I'm getting tons of messages, and a lot of you are hitting me up and entering the group and loving it so far. So thank you so much for anyone watching, all those new people that just entered the 90-day dash program. Thank you very much. And those of you that are thinking about it and are on the fence for whatever reason, don't wait. It's going to be lit. And yeah, Northern California is certainly on fire. Oh, Hallie. That's sad, though. That's sad. Northern California on fire, much like you, Papa Swolio. I know. Thoughts go out to anyone that's watching that's in the Northwest. Be safe. Be safe. I keep hearing that on the news. It's fucking insane. That's absolutely insane. So, I take my coffee large. This is some bulletproof coffee here. I just put a little bit of my Instagram story, a little bit in my story, a little blending, a little kind of what I used to do on Snapchat with a little music background and everything. And those of you that are already talking to me, if you didn't catch the video, it's right here on my timeline. If you didn't catch the video yesterday, the Hammer Challenge is in full effect. The Hammer Challenge is in full effect for your cheat food or cheat meal. So make sure, if you didn't see the Hammer Challenge video, it's right here on my Facebook page. It's probably the last video when you're scrolling. So don't miss that. That gauntlet has been thrown. The challenge is out there. And every single one of you, I'm coming after each and every single one of you. I challenge you to follow suit. I don't think you can hang. I don't think anyone can hang. I don't think anyone can hang with old Papa Swolio. I'd love to see what you come up with. But the Hammer Challenge is large and in charge. Episode 526. Let's talk about some pulling fundamentals. Let's start with the basics. And the basics is actually one of the things that you want to focus on. Like, literally just focus on the basics. And what are some, let me move this over a little bit. What are some of the basics that are important, the basic exercises, okay? So the foundation, I like those basic movements in terms of lifting. We're not going to talk about mobility. I mean, that's all before this. Let's just talk about the actual resistance training. Let's talk about the actual resistance training and maintenance. Let's pretend like you have no compensations, like you've activated and you've focused on those things we talked about yesterday, you've been doing your cobras. Let's talk about the actual weights, resistance, right? I'll add some stuff like that. So this is assuming you've done all your correctives, okay? So multi-joint exercise. Multi-joint movement. So your movements being multi-joint, what does that mean? That means you're moving more than one joint during the actual repetitions. So it's not just you're doing a fly or you're doing a curl. You're using your elbow and your shoulder joint at minimum in order to lift the weight and go against gravity for that specific movement. So using multiple joints are very important because it does increase things like, growth hormone stimulation and testosterone release because your body is damaging more tissue. It causes a little bit more of an alarm reaction in that sense, that fight or flight mechanism, the sympathetic activation, because you're using multiple muscles. Naturally, your body, if you're running from a tiger and your body senses danger, it's not like, oh my God, let's hide. And one muscle, starts fucking contracting. Everything activates. You run, you flee, and you're, climbing a tree or whatever to get to safety. So multi-joint could be things like deadlifts, could be things like pull-ups, that counts, rows. Most back exercises are going to work the shoulder and the elbow. Limited things like maybe if you're doing like a posterior delt move where your elbow's more or less locked, you're not so much using the elbow, you're mostly using the shoulder. If you're doing a floor cobra, that's a little bit more single joint. You're using and you're causing stabilization, but we're talking multi-joint from a resistance training standpoint, not from the corrective. So I made that clear before. This is if you're in the gym and you're starting to do resistance training. So multi-joint, we could do things like, I'll put some more content here in case those of you aren't listening. Deadlifts, for example, pull-ups, these all count because it's more than one joint. And the deadlifts uses, the ankle joint, the knee joint, the hip joint, and you're using shoulder joint. You're using everything in deadlifts because you're using your upper body and your lower body. All right, so multi-joint uses more than two joints. Start with the basics. Start with the basics and start with that foundation. What I see or what I hear from a lot of you, and we're talking about developing muscles, we're talking about developing a physique and strength. A lot of people try to get too fancy. And I really do think that the social media revolution, whatever you want to call it, that too fancy comes from Instagram and shit like that with fitness. Because you see way too much. You see way too much. You type in a hashtag, you see the training styles and the repetition, the exercises from people around the world, 99% that don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't care how many followers they have. I don't care how good a physique or a body they have. Most of the time, it's just genetics naturally, and their form is terrible. I've talked about the little fitness girls that all stick out their butt or have big butts. Most of them would have gotten that no matter what they did for training. It's called growing up. Most of them don't know proper form, or if they did, they got lucky because their form sucks because I've seen their videos. And I don't know how they developed such a nice physique. It's magic because their form was terrible. This is also before the next 30 or 40 years when they realize that their backs and their discs are all compressed for poor core stability and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of these genetic things happen anyway. And I'm not discounting anyone's hard work, but a lot of these exercises are trying to get views. They're trying to get one up. They're trying to do something different so it catches attention. I get it. Social media is a lot about attention and having people's eyes being interested in your stuff. Like if you're putting out content online, you want it to be interesting. You want to catch people's attention and also provide value. I know because I do it every day. I try to do my best to do what I do best in a way that provides value for you. So when you look at things that are too fancy, that are out there to get attention, like Cirque du Soleil stuff, you succumb to thinking that those exercises are necessary. And it gets back to the whole CrossFit and physique argument where people like CrossFit and not that it's easy, but it's hard and they get their butt kicked, but it's not getting them closer to what they want as a goal. Doing CrossFit for a visual physique is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. That's completely not the right style of training for someone that wants to look a certain way, that wants a certain physique. That's not physique oriented, that's performance and insanity oriented. Whereas a bodybuilding routine works on developing the muscles aesthetically, so they balance, and so you have shape and aesthetics, and you look like a sculpture, and that's what these guys on stage try to do. So if that's what you want, you need to do training more like that. And it doesn't mean to say that someone that does CrossFit can't look good. Doesn't mean that someone that's a bodybuilder can't be very physically and athletic. It just means in general, if you're trying to get a certain result, you have to expose your body to those stimuli that is going to cause adaptation for that result. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Your body is going to adapt to the stress that you put it under. And if you put it under swimming all the time, lo and behold, holy shit, you're going to become a better swimmer. No way. Yeah, your cardiovascular capacity is going to increase. You're going to get faster in the water. You'll be able to do more laps without resting. Wow, shocker. So you see, it's important to understand that the training is going to lead to the outcome. And the too fancy stuff doesn't lead to that proper foundation. Challenging does not mean that it's the right exercise for you. Difficult does not mean it's the best exercise for you. Because it looks cool doesn't make it the best exercise for you. Because someone else got results with it doesn't make it the best exercise for you. Notice the key phrase, for you, for you, for you. You might love a specific exercise. I might not love it. I might not ever see the great results, and it bothers my shoulder or blah, 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 whatever the reason is. Doesn't make it a great exercise for me. You have to be very careful following things and following exercise routines or trying things just because you saw it and it looks cool. I see so much calisthenics, the body weight stuff, and this power and jumping and cardio and HIIT training shit. And if you just want to be skinny or not have any shape to the muscle, or like, it's not going to get you ripped. It's not going to get you a physique. I mean, it's so hard to say it the way I want to sometimes, but I know why a lot of you start training. A lot of people, they want to look a certain way and feel better. Fine. Weight loss is weight loss. That's great. But if you want what most of you tell me that you want, you have to train like an artist. You have to train like a sculptor. You need mobility. You need yoga. That's going to cover your cardiovascular. That's going to cover your mobility, your active recovery. Like, literally, it's simple. Resistance training is good for the bones. It's good for muscle size and functionality. Yoga is great for mobility. It's great for balance. It's the yin and the yang. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful combination. That's why I always promote it. And everything else is like based on preference, or if you love swimming and if you love running and you can't live without, biking, it's like, all right, then do those things. It's your life, but it pulls you off course if this is what you want. If you want a physique and if you want that total body balance and you want strength with, you want the visual and the physical aesthetic appeal, it's different. It's different. So when we're discussing the mass building portion, if you want to build muscle, and these are just kind of like concepts, this is kind of going away from just the back training principles. This is like really kind of all training principles, to be honest. Build mass. And what I mean by building mass is not that you have to get huge. You have to be a bodybuilder. You have to be absolutely massive. And yeah, we're here just to get huge, huge, huge. What I mean by building mass is you're not going to be carving muscle that doesn't exist. And too many times people are skinny, or even if you're overweight, you don't have a lot of muscle underneath, and you're doing these fancy exercises, like these isolations and these exercises that are trying to, I'm trying to build a little bit here. I'm trying to just build here. What you need is to build slabs of mass. You need to build muscle. And then down the line, you can start carving it out and trimming things up. It's like, how does a sculptor, Michelangelo, when he made his amazing sculptures, he started with a huge, one massive block of marble. And then he whittled it down to an amazing thing. He didn't take stones and glue them together. You know, it's so much easier and more effective, more efficient to put your body into a muscle building state, lifting hard and eating right and just pounding at it. And then once you're building muscle, your metabolism's increasing. You are trimming more fat off your body naturally because your metabolism's up and you're still eating quality foods, not inflammatory foods, all that stuff. And then you start with carving and defining and focusing on certain areas more than others. You start specializing. And if you want more deltoids, maybe you start biasing your training more towards deltoids, because at that point you realize that some proportions you're trying to realign. It's a work in progress. There's a reason why the pro bodybuilders are doing it for 15, 20 years before they start really winning competitions. It's because it takes time. It takes time. And for me, I'm still learning, it takes time. But one of the most important holes I see is that people aren't trying to build mass anymore, because mass is associated with being huge, whereas mass just means more muscle. So if you're skinny or if you're fat and you have a low or a high body fat percentage and not enough muscle, you need to build mass. You need to put on muscle. You need to put your body into a situation where it's building muscle, not building fat, building muscle. You have extra energy on your body. You're fueling with the right foods. You'll build muscle and you'll lose fat at the same time when you're, excessively overweight. So building muscle is important for that foundation. It's important when you're focusing on the basics. It's important because you're not going to be doing too fancy. You're focusing on the basic movements, and that building mass is going to help with your metabolism. It's going to help with your overall shape, and then you can start worrying about the aesthetics down the road. Like, it's going to happen. And don't worry about building biceps in one area, the lower part rather than the top part, or here, this cut in the shoulder, or this part of the shoulder. Work the whole damn thing, crush it. Work the body, just crush them, work hard, work hard and train hard. It's so much more simple than we're making it, because the industry makes money off complicated. The industry makes money off complicated. If they can sell you shredding programs, bulking programs, and then shoulder programs and this, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of those programs are great. I have a lot of content coming out similar to that. That's going to help people that are more advanced take it to the next level. But at the same time, when you're not ready for that and you're starting up here, remember I said in the video I made last week, people try to start by climbing Everest. I want to get into mountain climbing. And they look at Everest and be like, all right, let's get started. You don't start scaling Everest for your first time, rock climbing, mountain climbing. You start with smaller hills, mountains, styles, techniques. That you do altitude training. You do all these advanced techniques because Everest is, one of the most challenging climbs in the world. So that's literally how it goes. You don't start with the hardest thing. So that's why I always say fix your fitness first, then start focusing on your food, because it's easier to get the exercise and the physical activity as a habit than it is changing your whole nutrition. That will come in suit, but it's important to understand that you need some more basics. So this is just the first phase. This applies to more than just the back. And in the next couple episodes, remember, we'll do a workshop next week in my premium group for pulling. But leading up to the next episodes, this is a great foundation to think about. I want you to think about the basic exercises. Are you doing the basics? Are you being too fancy? Are you doing single leg, cable, one arm, balancing on a ball? Are you doing fucking fancy shit, too fancy, without real context onto why you're doing that exercise? There are certain corrective exercises that I can show you and that I have in my premium group and so forth, but too fancy is never good. Don't get fancy. And building mass, building muscle is going to put you in the best position for having the physique that you want. You need to have the material to work with. It's not just gonna magically pop onto the outside of your chest or pop underneath. Okay? Now, if you're one of those people that looks at this and you're saying, well, still, I have no idea what it means by starting basic. Maybe you're above this basic too, and you're really stuck and you're really struggling. You have shoulder pain or issues. It's important to have the right approach. So it doesn't matter if you know this, if you don't do it, and it doesn't matter if you have a gym membership, if you don't know what to do when you're in the gym. So I really, like I said, my 90-day dash program, The special offer ends tomorrow night. Do not wait till then because you never know what's going to happen. But I'm getting a lot of new entries into the program. So if you're watching and you're just new, you're going to love it. I can't wait for you to start. I always get excited when people sign up for the program because I know I'm going to start getting those messages in a couple of weeks or seeing the posts like, oh man, it's great. I feel so great. My shoulder doesn't bother me anymore. I have more range of motion in my hips. My endurance already gone up. Yoga is amazing. So those of you see in the comments, it's great. It's an amazing program, and the special offer that's been running for the last couple weeks is going away tomorrow night. So please, link is in the description if this makes sense to you and you're looking to take it to the next level. You don't just have access for 90 days. You have access forever, but the special offer, the program is a 90-day program that can be repeated. But you don't just have access for 90 days. So if you have it, you have it forever, especially when Swolenormous X launches. And that's why this is all coming to a close, because the new phase, and those that are in the premium group, you have a little bit more awareness of this. Swolenormous X is launching. It's essentially Swolenormous 2.0, the next phase in our journey together. And the accessibility and the way the content's going to be delivered is going to be completely different and so much more efficient and amazing. So everything's different. You're gonna get more content, but the prices are going up dramatically because the product is worth that and more. So this value is never gonna be seen again, so I highly recommend it. In the post description, and those of you that really have a pair of stones, you got some time this weekend, take the Hammer Challenge. If you haven't watched that video, catch it right here in my timeline on Facebook. The Hammer Challenge has been dropped. Don't wimp out on this one. I'm challenging every single one of you, challenging you. Hammer Challenge, just hammer time. Vince, if you have $100, buy it. It's so worth it. You can't get that content anywhere close to that price. I like to agree, Vince. I like to agree. I appreciate the positive feedback. I agree. I wanted to put out a program that embodies everything that we talk about here on the Daily Show. And it's like, well, how do I create a program? I mean, so what episode was up at that time? Let's say it was like 300 and change or whatever it was. It's like, how do I put everything that we talk about? I mean, it's hundreds of episodes, and still at 526, it's still everything that I talk about is in that program. It's still, because it's my philosophy. It's my approach. It's what I would tell people to start with. This is the best place to get into it, to start training from my perspective, start training from my approach. And of course you can repeat it, you can make it more advanced for the second 90 days. And this creates that foundation for all your future training and changes your perspective. So it can combine with other styles of training and other activities that you do. It doesn't have to be the only thing that you do, but it can be if you do more volume with it. So it's just super versatile, and I'm very proud of it. So I appreciate the feedback, Vince. Thanks, Gary. 90-day rocks. I only wish I met you sooner, but better late than never. Oh, the 90-day dash is perfect. It allows you to whip your own ass so you're not so beat up. You can actually go again tomorrow. That's what's important, the active recovery. Kettlebells have been doing great for me. Really basic movements makes me stronger. Agreed, Brandon. Basic is solid. Dun, dun, dun. Good morning. You have to have, I like that, Brandon. You have to build a foundation before you can build a house. Ashley, any tips for just losing weight? Yeah, start working on your nutrition. If you're not exercising, start moving, and watch my episodes on anti-inflammatory diets. Check out my content on nutrition here on the page. And you can also search my videos on YouTube, or you could message me right here on Facebook, and I'll get to it as soon as I can. Love you guys. Peace, McGeese. Deuce, Magoose. Thank you for joining me, episode 526 of the Daily Sleazy. Remember, got a couple things. You got that Hammer Challenge. I challenge all of you. Watch the video on my timeline, and tomorrow is the open Q&A. So bring your questions. We're going to fire them off. We'll listen to some music, probably be on the porch. It's going to be lit like the tip. Nipples are hard, and we are going to be large and in charge. I will be on Instagram stories all day today. I did some stuff with my coffee and videos this morning. So tag me, take a screenshot of the show, and tag me at Swolenormous in your Instagram story for a shout out. And I will see all of you probably in premium later today. Going to be hitting arms today. What are you training today? Drop in the comments. If you've pumped, what did you pump? And if you're going to pump, what you going to pump, yo? Peace out. See you tomorrow for the open Q&A.